quiet life before. The woman lived in a small town that most people never noticed. Her house was old but warm, standing at the edge of a quiet street. People in the town went about their lives in silence, as if something heavy always hung in the air. But no one spoke about it. She was known simply as Anna, though not many people ever came to visit. Anna lived with a child, a teenager named Sam, who was not her own by birth but cared for like family. Their life was not rich, but it was steady. They had a simple routine: school in the morning, dinner in the evening, and long talks by the fire at night. At first glance, their world looked normal. But under the surface, nothing was normal at all. Every night at the same time, the town seemed to hold its breath. The dogs stopped barking. The crickets went silent. Even the air felt heavy. And inside their little home, Anna would notice something strange. The clock on the wall always slowed down at the same hour, as if time itself did not want to move forward. She would shake her head, telling herself it was just her imagination. Sam was different. He noticed things Anna tried to ignore. Sometimes he would ask, "Why do the lights flicker only at night? Why do people avoid talking about what happened years ago?" Anna never had answers. She wanted to protect him from the shadows of the past. But the boy was growing older, and questions could not be hidden forever. One evening, as rain tapped gently against the windows, Anna cooked a small meal. The smell of soup filled the house. Sam sat at the table, drawing quietly in his notebook. Outside, the street looked empty, though a single light flickered in the distance. "Do you ever feel," Sam said suddenly, not looking up from his paper, "like the town is keeping a secret from us?" Anna froze for a moment, her spoon hanging in the air. She forced a smile. "Every town has secrets," she replied softly. "It's better not to look too closely." But inside, her chest felt tight. She knew he was right. Later that night, as they prepared for bed, the silence outside grew stronger. The kind of silence that pressed against the walls and made it hard to breathe. Anna walked through the house, checking every lock twice. She didn't know why she did it. It was habit. A habit born from fear she never explained. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual. 10:58, 10:59. And then, at the stroke of 11, the second hand stopped. Sam noticed it too. He whispered, "It's happening again." Anna put a hand on his shoulder. "Go to bed," she said firmly. But her voice shook. The house went dark for a moment. The lights flickered, buzzing before returning to life. Both of them stared at the clock. The second hand began to move again, slowly as if waking from sleep. They did not speak. The next morning, everything was back to normal. People in the town acted as if nothing had happened. Children played in the street. Shops opened their doors. Neighbors greeted each other with forced smiles. But Anna could see it in their eyes. They were afraid too. They just pretended not to be. Sam walked beside her on the way to the store. His eyes scanned the quiet houses, the empty windows. "Why does nobody talk about it?" he asked. "Because talking makes it real," Anna answered, more harshly than she meant. That night, the silence came again. The air grew colder. Anna sat by the window, staring at the empty street. A single lamp flickered at the corner. Then came the sound. A knock at the door. It was soft, almost gentle, as if someone wanted to be polite. But at that hour, no one ever came. Anna's heart froze. She looked at Sam, whose face had gone pale. The knock came again, louder. Anna stood, her hands shaking. She stepped toward the door, but did not open it. She pressed her ear against the wood. Nothing. No footsteps, no voice. Only silence, she whispered almost to herself. "There's no one there." Sam's voice broke the silence. "Then who's knocking?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Anna did not answer. She moved back from the door, pulling Sam with her. They sat in the dark, listening. The knocking stopped, but the silence that followed felt even heavier. The clock ticked once, twice, and then stopped again. That was the night Anna realized something was wrong. Something had always been wrong, and the unseen hour had only just begun. The first sign the night after the knocking, Anna barely slept. Every sound made her flinch. The creak of the floor, the sigh of the wind, even the quiet breathing of Sam in the next room felt louder than usual. She lay in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling until the faint glow of morning broke through the curtains. When daylight came, everything looked harmless again. The street outside was calm. Neighbors carried bags of groceries and a boy rode his bicycle down the road laughing. But to Anna it all felt false, like paint over broken wood. At breakfast, Sam pushed his food around his plate. He did not eat. Finally, he looked at Anna and asked, "Why didn't you open the door last night?" She shook her head. "Because there was nothing good waiting on the other side." Sam's eyes narrowed. "How do you know that?" Anna could not answer. She only pressed her lips together and told him to hurry for school. That evening, when Sam returned home, his mood was different. He looked pale and unsettled. Anna noticed right away. "What happened?" she asked. Sam hesitated. He placed his school bag down slowly. "The clock in my classroom stopped today at 11. Just like here." Anna felt her chest tighten. She wanted to tell him it was coincidence, but the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she poured water into a glass and slid it toward him. "Drink, you're just tired," but Sam shook his head. His voice dropped low, almost a whisper. "I think the whole town knows. They just pretend it doesn't." That night, as the unseen hour approached, Anna stayed awake, sitting at the edge of her bed. She watched the clock on the wall. Sam, restless, paced the living room. At exactly 11, the second hand froze again. And then something new happened. The kitchen light flickered once, twice, and then burst with a sharp pop. Glass scattered across the floor. Sam jumped back, his heart pounding. "Stay here," Anna ordered, though her voice shook. She grabbed a broom and began sweeping the pieces, but halfway through she froze. On the floor among the broken glass was something that had not been there before. A folded piece of paper, old and yellowed as if it had been hidden for years. She picked it up carefully. The words on it were smudged but still readable. "Do not stay when the hour stops. Leave or be taken." Anna's hands trembled. She shoved the note into her pocket and turned to Sam. "Go to bed," she said firmly, but Sam had already seen it. His voice cracked. "Taken by who?" Anna had no answer. The next day she tried to live normally. She went to the market, greeted neighbors, and kept her head down. But whispers followed her. A man at the fruit stall avoided her eyes. A woman across the street pulled her child closer when Anna walked past. People knew something, and they were afraid. When Anna returned home, Sam was waiting at the table with his notebook. He had drawn something. A clock with its hands frozen at 11. Around the clock he had sketched dark shapes, shadow-like figures without faces. "I see them when the clock stops," he said quietly. Anna's heart raced. "You're imagining things," but Sam shook his head. His eyes were wide, serious. "They're there, watching us." That evening, Anna decided not to wait passively. She wanted answers. She went next door to speak with Mr. Carter, an old neighbor who had lived in the town longer than anyone. "Mr. Carter," she asked, "do you know what happens at night?" "Why the clocks stop?" The man stiffened. His face turned pale. "Don't ask about that," he said sharply. "But," he cut her off, his voice rising. "You want to protect the boy? Then stay quiet. Lock your doors. Do not look outside when the knocking comes." His hands trembled as he shut the door in her face. Anna stood there for a long moment, staring at the wood. Fear crawled up her spine. That night, the unseen hour returned once again. Anna sat with Sam in the living room, both of them tense, waiting. The clock slowed, then froze. The silence was crushing, and then from outside came the sound of footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps circling the house. Sam clutched her arm. "They're here," he whispered. The footsteps stopped directly at the front door. And this time, instead of a knock, they heard a voice. A low, broken voice calling softly, "Let us in." Anna's breath caught. Her skin went cold. She pulled Sam close, shaking her head, mouthing the words, "Don't move." The voice came again, louder. "We know you're awake." The lights flickered violently, plunging the house into darkness for a moment before glowing weakly back to life. Anna's heart pounded. She did not move, did not breathe. And then, just as suddenly, the voice and footsteps stopped. The silence returned. The clock ticked once more, moving forward as if nothing had happened. Sam whispered the words Anna had been afraid to think. "They're not going away." The incident returns for days. Anna tried to ignore what happened at the door. She told herself it was only her mind, only fear playing tricks. But Sam would not let it go. "Mom," he whispered one morning at breakfast, "why do they want us? Why us and not the others?" Anna had no answer. She stirred her tea slowly, staring at the steam. "It doesn't matter why," she said softly. "It only matters that we stay safe." But even as she spoke, she knew it was a lie. Safety was slipping away piece by piece with every night that passed. That afternoon, Sam came home from school with something in his hand. A crumpled sheet of paper torn from an old book. "Where did you get this?" Anna asked, frowning. He looked nervous. "I found it in the library." It was hidden inside a history book between the pages. Someone didn't want it seen. Anna unfolded the paper carefully. The words were faded, typed on a machine long ago. Her eyes narrowed as she read. "Town hall fire 17 years ago, dozens missing, bodies never found." She felt her blood run cold. She remembered that day. She had been a child then. The fire had destroyed half the building, and people whispered about screams that did not belong to fire or smoke. But after a few weeks, everyone stopped talking. The mayor had ordered silence. Anna folded the paper and shoved it away, her voice trembling. "Sam, you should not have taken this. But it's connected," he said firmly. "Isn't it?" Anna closed her eyes. Yes, it was connected. She had always known deep down that the unseen hour had roots in that tragedy. The terrible secret was not new. It was old, older than Sam. That night, when the hour approached, Anna could not sit still. She searched through the house looking for anything she had forgotten, anything that might explain why the shadow of the past still clung to them. In a wooden chest in the attic, she found an old box covered in dust. Inside was a newspaper clipping she did not remember saving. The headline read, "Authorities close case, fire victims declared lost." But it wasn't the headline that froze her breath. It was the photograph below it. A black and white image of the victims, men, women, children, faces blurred by the old print, but one stood out. A teenage boy holding a schoolbook. His eyes were wide, almost frightened. He looked like Sam. That same night, the clock froze again. Sam was sketching at the table, but his hand stopped mid-line. He looked up suddenly, his face pale. "They're outside," he whispered. Anna's stomach twisted. She heard it too. Faint whispers drifting through the walls like voices carried on the wind. She moved to the window and pulled the curtain back just enough to peek outside. The street was empty, but the air shimmered like heat rising from the ground, though the night was cold. Shapes flickered in the distance. Human shapes. "Get away from the window," Sam said quickly. His voice was not his own. It was lower, heavier. Anna spun to look at him. His eyes were dark, his face slack. For a moment, it was not Sam speaking. "They remember you," he said in that strange voice. Anna rushed to him, shaking him by the shoulders. "Sam, wake up!" He blinked, gasping as if he had been drowning. His body trembled. "Mom, I saw them. I saw the fire. They were burning, but they didn't die. They stayed. They're still here." Her hands froze on him. The secret was no longer hidden. The missing victims of the town hall fire. They were the ones knocking, whispering, waiting at the unseen hour. The following day, Anna tried to seek answers. She went to the town archives, a dusty room filled with locked cabinets and yellow folders. She searched until her fingers ached. Most files were missing, erased. But tucked at the bottom of one drawer, she found a report written by a police officer 17 years ago. It was marked confidential. The words were short, hurried. Not all bodies were lost in fire. Some changed. Witnesses silenced. Survivors warned. Her blood ran cold. She stuffed the paper into her coat and left quickly, feeling eyes on her back the whole way home. That night, Sam would not sleep. He sat awake, his sketchbook open. The page was covered with drawings of faces, hollow, twisted, their mouths open as if screaming. "They won't leave me alone," he whispered. "They show me what happened. They want me to see." Anna pulled him close, but her own hands shook. She wanted to comfort him, but fear gripped her throat. Then the clock stopped again. The air grew heavy, pressing against their chests. The lights flickered and dimmed. And this time, the knocking was not gentle. It was loud, violent, shaking the door on its hinges. Anna pulled Sam into her arms, her heart racing. The voices outside rose in a terrible chorus. Men, women, children, crying, screaming, pleading. And then, a single voice broke through, sharp and clear, calling from the other side of the door. It was a boy's voice. "Let me in." "Anna, you remember me?" Anna's breath caught in her throat. She did remember. A boy she had seen once long ago before the fire. A boy whose face looked almost exactly like Sam's. The unseen visitors. The voice at the door would not leave Anna's mind. Even in daylight, when the street was quiet and normal, she kept hearing it. That boy's voice calling her name, begging to be let inside. Sam noticed her silence. At breakfast, he leaned across the table and whispered, "It wasn't really him, was it?" Anna shook her head. "It can't be. He's gone." But Sam's eyes narrowed. "Gone doesn't mean gone. Not here." That evening, Anna locked every window, every door, twice over. She even pushed a heavy chair against the front entrance. Her hands trembled as she worked, but she told herself it would help. "Will it stop them?" Sam asked quietly, watching her. Anna forced a smile. Yes. But she did not believe her own words. The unseen hour came swiftly. The clock slowed, then froze at exactly 11. The air thickened, pressing down on them. The lights flickered until the house glowed in weak, trembling shadows, and then the whispers began. At first, soft, like a crowd murmuring in a far-off place. Then louder, closer, circling the house. Sam clutched his sketchbook. His voice shook. "They're outside again. I can hear them." Anna grabbed his hand. "Don't listen. Don't answer." But the voices grew sharper. Some cried. Some screamed. Others laughed in broken tones that sent shivers through her bones. And then came the boy's voice again, clear and cold. "Anna, we're waiting." The knocking began, not just at the front door, but at the windows, the walls, the back door, everywhere at once. The house shook with it. Anna pulled Sam into the corner of the living room, covering his ears. Her own heart pounded so loud she thought it might burst. "Go away," she shouted, her voice breaking. The knocking stopped. The silence that followed was worse. Sam's eyes went wide. He pointed toward the hallway. "Mom, look." Anna turned. At the far end of the hallway near the kitchen stood a shadow. It was taller than a man, with arms too long and a head tilted unnaturally to the side. Its edges flickered like smoke caught in a breeze. Anna froze. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't move. The shadow lifted its hand and pointed at Sam. "No," Anna whispered, pulling him closer. "You can't have him." The shadow tilted its head further, and though it had no face, Anna felt it smiling. Then as suddenly as it appeared, it dissolved into the air, leaving only the heavy silence. When the clock ticked again and time moved forward, Anna collapsed against the wall. Sam was shaking violently, his fingers gripping her sleeve. "They're inside," he whispered. "They don't need the door anymore." Anna held him close, her mind racing. If the shadows could enter their home, then nowhere was safe. The next morning, she went back to Mr. Carter, the old neighbor. She banged on his door until he opened it, his face pale and tired. "They came inside," Anna said without greeting. Her voice was hoarse. "You knew this would happen. Tell me the truth." Mr. Carter glanced around nervously, then pulled her inside. His living room smelled of dust and old books. He sat down heavily, his hands trembling. "They're not spirits," he said finally. "Not in the way people think. They're echoes. Leftovers from the fire. The hour keeps them alive. Every night it opens the door between what was lost and what remains." Anna stared at him. "Why us? Why my house?" Carter's eyes filled with pity. "Because you were there. You survived. And they didn't." Anna's blood turned cold. She remembered now. The day of the fire, when she was a girl. Her parents had pulled her out of the smoke. She had seen faces through the flames, reaching, screaming. Faces that burned into her memory. Faces that had never left. That night, Anna sat with Sam in the living room. The paper from the attic and the old report spread across the table. "They know me," she said softly. "They remember me. That's why they come." Sam looked terrified. "Then they'll never stop." Anna took his hand. "We'll find a way. I won't let them take you." But even as she said it, she heard the clock begin to slow again. The unseen hour was coming. This time the shadows did not wait outside. As soon as the second hand froze, the air split with a crackling sound, like wood snapping under pressure. The lights flickered and then went black. Darkness swallowed the house. Anna held Sam close, her breath ragged. Footsteps echoed in the living room, though no one was there. The smell of smoke filled the air, thick and choking, as if the fire had returned. And then voices rose all around them. Not whispers this time, but screams. Dozens of them crying out in pain and anger. Sam covered his ears and shouted, "Stop! Stop!" The screams cut off suddenly, leaving only silence. In the dark, Anna felt a cold breath against her ear. A voice whispered, low and cruel, You should have burned with us. Anna spun, swinging her hand through empty air. Nothing was there. The clock ticked once, twice, and the lights returned weak and flickering. The house was empty again. Sam's eyes were wide with terror. Mom, they're inside now, and they're angry. Anna pulled him into her arms, her heart sinking. She knew the truth. The unseen visitors were no longer content with knocking. They were coming closer, and the hour was far from over. The secret revealed. The night after the shadows entered her home, Anna could no longer pretend. The fear that had lived quietly at the edge of her life had broken in. There was no safety in silence anymore. Sam stayed close to her side. He no longer joked or asked light questions. His face looked older, harder, as if the voices had stolen some part of his childhood. He carried his sketchbook everywhere, filling page after page with drawings of the shadows. "They want you to know," he said quietly one morning, sliding the book toward her. "They're showing me what happened." Anna opened the sketchbook. The drawings made her stomach turn. The town hall on fire, faces screaming from windows, people clawing at the doors. And in the middle of it all, a figure she recognized, herself as a young girl standing outside watching while others burned. Her hands trembled. "I don't want to see this." But Sam pressed the book back to her. "You have to. They won't stop until you do." That afternoon, Anna went back to the town archives. She demanded entry, her voice sharp and unyielding. The clerk hesitated but gave her the key to the restricted cabinet, perhaps out of fear or pity. Inside, she found folders hidden beneath blank files. Reports stamped confidential, police records, old witness statements. Her hands shook as she read. One report told of experiments in the town hall basement. Tests with sound and energy fields, carried out by a group of scientists the town trusted. The fire had not been an accident. The experiments had gone wrong. The energy release trapped people in a state between life and death. The fire destroyed the building, but not the victims. Another report said, "Survivors warned to keep silent. The phenomenon repeats at 11 p.m. daily. Time distortion confirmed. Victims still present." Anna dropped the papers, her chest tightening. All this time the town had known. The silence, the fear, the refusal to speak, and it was not ignorance. It was complicity. That evening she told Sam the truth. The fire wasn't just a fire, she said. It was an experiment. They caused it. They trapped those people. Sam's voice shook. "And you were there?" Anna nodded slowly. "I was a child. My parents pulled me out before the building collapsed. But I saw them. I saw their faces. That's why they come to me. That's why they know my name." Sam hugged his knees to his chest, rocking slightly. "Then they'll never let us go. They want you." "They want me too." Anna pulled him close. "No, they want us to remember. They want the truth to be known." But even as she said it, she felt the walls shake with the weight of what was coming. That night, she lit candles around the living room. Electricity could no longer be trusted. The lights always betrayed her at the unseen hour. The candles cast long, trembling shadows. When the clock froze, the house filled with the smell of smoke again. The whispers began, louder than ever. Anna stood tall, holding one of the old reports in her hand. "I know what happened," she shouted into the dark. "I know what they did to you." The voices fell silent. For a long, heavy moment, the house was still. Then, a shape emerged in the corner. A boy no older than Sam, his clothes burned and torn, his eyes hollow. He stepped closer, each movement stiff and broken. His voice cracked as he spoke. "They lied about us." Anna's throat tightened. She forced herself to nod. "Yes, they did." The boy tilted his head, looking at Sam. His voice was almost a hiss. "You look like me." Sam clutched Anna's arm. His voice was barely a whisper. "Mom, make him stop." Anna stood firm, though her legs trembled. "Tell me what you want. Tell me how to end this." The boy's mouth opened, but instead of words, a scream tore out, loud and sharp, filling the room. The windows rattled. The candles blew out. And then dozens of voices screamed with him, filling every corner of the house. Anna fell to her knees, covering Sam with her body. Her ears rang with the sound, her head splitting with pain. Finally, the voices faded, leaving only one word hanging in the air, spoken by all of them at once. "Remember." When the clock ticked forward again, Anna was shaking, tears streaking her face. Sam clung to her, whispering over and over, "They won't stop. They won't stop." Anna stared at the old report on the floor. The truth was written there. The fire, the experiments, the victims. It had all been hidden, buried beneath silence. They don't want revenge, she whispered, almost to herself. They want the world to know what was done to them. Sam looked at her with wide eyes. But if we tell, if we break the silence, won't they come even stronger? Anna didn't answer. She knew the risk. But she also knew the secret could no longer stay buried. The unseen hour was not just haunting them. It was demanding something, and if she refused, she feared the next hour would not end with screams, but with death. The desperate search Anna could no longer sit and wait for the hour to come. She had seen enough, read enough. The reports, the whispers, the scream, all of it pointed to one thing. The fire was never an accident, and silence was not protection. But silence had ruled the town for 17 years. Sam followed her through the kitchen the next morning as she packed a bag. Old papers, candles, matches, a flashlight, and the folded note that had once appeared in their house. "Where are we going?" he asked. "Somewhere no one wants us to go," she said. They went first to the edge of town, to the blackened ruins of the old town hall. The building had been abandoned for years, sealed with wooden boards and warning signs. People passed by it quickly, pretending it wasn't there. Anna stared at the scorched walls, her throat dry. She remembered the smell of burning wood, the screams that night. She had been carried out by her father just before the roof fell. Sam clutched her sleeve. "We shouldn't be here. They'll know." Anna forced herself to move closer. "They already know." Together they pulled at the boards until one came loose. The smell of dust and smoke poured out as if the fire still lived inside. The inside of the building was black and broken. Ash clung to the walls. The floor groaned under their weight. Sam coughed, covering his mouth. "Mom," he whispered. "Look." On the wall, words had been scratched into the soot, letters jagged and deep. "Time holds us, free us." Anna's heart pounded. The shadows weren't just haunting them. They were trapped here, caught in the hour that never passed. Sam turned pale. His voice trembled. "They're watching." Anna felt it too. The air thickened, pressing against her chest. A cold whisper brushed her ear, though no one was near. "You shouldn't have come back." She grabbed Sam's hand. "We're leaving." But as they turned, they saw it. A doorway in the back wall, half buried in rubble. A stairwell leading underground. Anna's stomach twisted. The reports had mentioned experiments in the basement. This was it, the place where it had all begun. She pushed at the rubble until the doorway cleared enough to squeeze through. The stairs creaked as they descended. The air grew colder, heavier. At the bottom was a large room, blackened by fire but still holding broken tables, melted machines, and twisted wires. Symbols were scrawled across the walls, circles and patterns Anna didn't understand. In the center of the floor was a mark burned into the stone, a clock face. Its hands frozen at 11, Sam's knees buckled. "It's the hour," he whispered. Anna knelt, brushing her hand over the mark. Her skin prickled. It felt alive, humming faintly under her touch. The truth was here, buried in this room. Suddenly, the flashlight flickered. The beam shook as the unseen hour began, even though the real clock above them still showed daylight. Anna's heart froze. The rules had changed. Shadows spread across the walls, long arms stretching, faces forming in the dark. Screams echoed around them, filling the basement. Sam clutched his head, crying out, "They're inside me. They're showing me everything." Anna pulled him close, shouting over the noise. "Fight them. Don't let them in." But Sam's voice shifted, deep and hollow. "They burned. They begged. No one came. Now it is our turn." Anna shook him, tears streaming down her face. "You're not them. You're my son." The shadow swirled faster, circling them like a storm. Hands reached from the darkness, grasping at Sam's arms, his shoulders, his face. Anna screamed, dragging him back toward the stairs. "Leave him alone." The voices rose together, shrill and angry. "Remember us, remember or join us." She stumbled up the stairs, dragging Sam's limp body. His eyes rolled back, his voice whispering words that weren't his. At the top, she pushed through the broken boards into the sunlight. The shadows stopped at the edge of the doorway, screaming as if the light burned them. Sam collapsed against her, gasping for breath. His skin was cold, his lips pale. "Mom," he whispered weakly. "They almost took me." Anna held him tight, her whole body shaking. "I won't let them. I promise, but deep down she knew the promise was empty. They had come closer than ever before. That night, back in their home, Sam lay in bed staring at the ceiling. His voice was soft, but his words cut deep. They want me because I look like him. The boy in the fire. The one who called your name. Anna sat beside him, holding his hand. You are not him. You're you. But Sam only shook his head. They don't see the difference. When the unseen hour came again, the house shook violently. The knocking was everywhere, louder than before. The walls groaned. The voices screamed. And this time the door at the end of the hallway creaked open by itself. Anna froze, clutching Sam. From the darkness beyond the door, the boy's voice returned, calm, clear. Come with us, Anna, bring him. The hour will not end until you do. The lights died, plunging them into blackness. Anna held Sam close, whispering through clenched teeth. They want us both now, and they won't stop until they have us. The final hour. The night after the basement, Anna knew there would be no more hiding. The shadows had followed her since childhood, but now they wanted more than memory. They wanted her, and they wanted Sam. She sat in the living room with a candle burning on the table. The flame shook in the draft, throwing long shadows across the walls. Sam sat beside her, his face pale, his eyes hollow from nights of fear. Mom, he whispered, if we don't give them what they want, they'll take us anyway. Anna reached for his hand, gripping it tightly. No, we'll end this tonight. As the clock struck 11, the air thickened like smoke. The candle flickered, then blew out. Darkness swallowed the house, Anna's chest tightened. She could hear them coming. The footsteps, the whispers, the broken laughter that filled every corner of the room. The voices rose together. Anna, Sam, come. The doors banged open. Windows rattled. Shadows poured into the house like a flood, crawling along the floor, stretching along the ceiling. Their shapes flickered between human and something less than human. Anna stood, clutching Sam close. You can't have him, she shouted into the dark. The boy's voice cut through the chaos, calm, demanding. We are not here for him. We are here for both of you, Sam cried out as invisible hands pulled at his arms. He fought against them, but the shadows gripped tighter. Anna pulled back, screaming, dragging him against the weight of the unseen. Stop, she cried. What do you want from us? The voices answered together, shaking the house. Remember, Anna's heart pounded. She thought of the papers, the reports, the fire, the silence that had covered it all. They weren't seeking revenge. They weren't looking for blood. They wanted their truth to live. She shouted into the darkness, her voice cracking. I will tell the world. I will make them know what happened to you. The silence ends tonight. For a moment the shadows froze. The voices fell silent. Then came a scream so loud the glass windows shattered. Sam dropped to his knees, clutching his head. His voice shifted again, hollow and deep. If you lie, if you forget, we will take you. Anna knelt beside him, holding him tight. I won't lie. I won't forget. I'll carry you with me until my last breath. The shadows circled faster, their forms trembling. Some wept, some laughed, some screamed. The boy's figure appeared once more, burned and broken, his eyes locked on Anna. You were saved. We were not. But now you will carry us. Anna nodded, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I will. I swear it. The boy tilted his head, studying her. Then he looked at Sam, who shook violently in Anna's arms. And him? He must carry us too. No, Anna cried. He's only a child. The boy's voice was calm, unyielding. So were we. The unseen hour deepened. The clock on the wall melted into silence, its hands frozen. The house groaned as if it would collapse. Sam's breathing slowed. His body went limp, his eyes staring into nothing. For one terrible moment, Anna thought they had taken him. But then he whispered, weak but clear. I can hear them. All of them. They're inside me now. Anna held him close, sobbing. I'm so sorry, Sam. He looked at her with wide, trembling eyes. They won't let me go, Mom, not ever. The boy's figure stepped closer, his face flickering between shadow and flesh. The hour is done. But we remain in him, and in you. The clock ticked again. Once. Twice. Time moved forward. The shadows dissolved, vanishing into the walls, the floor, the air itself. The house was silent again. But not empty. Never empty. Sam sat against the wall, pale and shaking. His eyes were wet with tears, but behind them flickered something else. Dozens of voices, dozens of lives. They're here, he whispered. I can feel them. They'll never leave me. Anna stroked his hair, her own tears falling. Then we carry them together. We carry them until the world remembers. The next day, the town woke to something it had not seen in years. Anna stood in the square with Sam at her side, the old papers clutched in her hands. She spoke loudly, clearly, her voice breaking the silence that had lasted 17 years. She told them about the fire, the experiments, the cover-up, the voices that had been buried in ash. People stared, pale and wide-eyed. Some shook their heads in denial. Others wept quietly. They are not gone, Anna said firmly. They are with us, every night, and they will remain until we remember them. Sam stood beside her, silent, but his eyes glowed with something old, something far older than him. The crowd shifted uneasily. Some turned away. But the silence was broken now. The secret was out. That night, when the clock froze again, the shadows did not scream. They did not knock. They whispered, soft, gentle, almost peaceful. Thank you. Anna held Sam close, her eyes wet with tears. The unseen hour had not ended. It never would. But it had changed. Now it was no longer a curse. It was a reminder, and she would carry it with Sam for the rest of her life.